Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. I'm going to be mute for the next hour, but over to Dean and Big Man to chat FPL. Tell us how to do it, guys.
Oh, mate. Are you all right? Are you all right?
I'm suffering, mate. I am suffering. I often give it the big and on, like, it's just a game, blah, blah, blah. But I'd be lying if this game week wasn't a dagger to my heart. I say I'm suffering. There's still bigger picture stuff where you go, grow the hell up. Like, why are you sulking because of a game? Like, and honestly, I'm fine today, but I went to bed last night absolutely livid, not going to lie.
Oh, mate. No, I understand. I feel a little bit similar, actually, in that I had this phone call with someone 2 days ago about Erling Harland, and they were like, "Oh, he'll be signing his new contract soon, so you should probably do something on that." And I was like, "Oh, I'll probably hold that back till next week." And then I wake up this morning and he signed a 10-year contract, and I'm like, "You idiot, Dean."
Good news to wake up to, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
First on that, mate.
Good professionalism, Dean. Well done, mate. But yeah, never mind, G. It is just a game. You've got another job as well, so focus on that one. Hello, everyone.
Hope 2 days a week on that. So now FPL is my major source of income.
Oh, mate. Well, I would give you some money, but I ain't got any either. Hope everyone's doing well, though. Look, I did have a good game week, but I mean, those points from Ahmed were completely unexpected as we got to the last 15 minutes of that Man United game. So great, yeah, and I got 20 points off of him in the end. So I got to the 90-point mark, which is nice. But yeah, this game is a bit of luck. I mean, when you see that Amad Diallo gets a hat trick from that game, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. I'm very pleased for Amad Diallo. Great lad and all that, but that wasn't a performance that merited a hat trick.
Big Man, what percentage of this game is luck and what percentage is skill? Do we go with 70-30? Is that fair?
Hi, Johnny. Hi, Dean. I think it would be 65, probably. 65% skill, 35% luck. I didn't watch the game last night. It was very late for me. I woke up early and then I saw the score and I saw 3-1 and I was like, oh damn, Bruno must have fallen big here, and I don't know him. And I was dreading watching, even checking the scoreline. I didn't even think of Ahmad at once when I was sort of contemplating, the scores. I was like, okay, he might have gotten a goal or an assist, but a hat trick. I mean, come on, that too in the last 10 minutes. That's insane.
Yeah, it was. It actually was. I mean, it was one of the worst games of football you could ever watch in the Premier League. United were bad, but they kept plugging along just in probably the expectation that Southampton would crumble because they are terrible, and Southampton did exactly that. I mean, the way that Southampton gave away that third goal, they're supposed to have stopped. They've got a new manager now. They're supposed to have stopped the playing out of the back in awkward positions, and it's just ingrained in them now. So yeah, that was a bit of a nonsense, but I'll take the points, boys. That's for sure. So, yeah, I'll tell you what is funny, though. I was looking at my team for this game week, and straight away I was like, yeah, probably going to put Ahmed on the bench. I honestly don't think I'm going to play him.
Wow, that is bold after the hat trick. But yeah, United are... I thought they might have turned the corner. I write a weekly FPL article for Gimme Sport, and it was due to be sent after the games last night. And I'd written my 900 words of my 1,000 words, and I had a 100-word paragraph on Man United turning a corner. I wrote the paragraph. They've just drawn against Liverpool 2-2. It was a really good display. They've beaten Arsenal away. Yes, it was on penalties, but it was a good performance. And they've had a convincing display versus Southampton. And then I left a line to add about what players to buy. That whole paragraph got deleted at post-match. They have not turned the corner. They are not looking any better. I just saw it coming. I thought they had, which is why I was so invested in Bruno. Guys, stay tuned. We are going to be doing the post-mortem on the game week just gone, but more importantly, we are previewing the game week ahead, and there is loads to get excited about.
Johnny, just one thing before we move on to next game week. I'd just like to say that yes, you sound a bit deflated after what has happened, but I mean, they also sold Foden. I mean, that was horrible luck because you've backed him all the way, and for that to happen the same week obviously must hurt. But to be very honest, I mean, yes, obviously the outcome sort of hurts, but I think we got the read of the minutes right. And Bruno played 90. Isak got subbed relatively early comparatively. And had you not know the score line, I mean, both scored like what, three goals, was it? Newcastle scored 3, United scored 3 as well. So, I mean, had you known the score lines and had you known the minutes earlier, who would you have picked?
Yeah, but Isak only got subbed because the game was done.
Game state, yeah.
That he would have stayed on. Like, he was totally fine.
He was totally fine.
He was so good. Like, and Newcastle were looking for him again and again and again. And Wolves actually defended really well for a reasonably large section of that game. I was like, okay, like in our Chasing Green Arrows WhatsApp group, one of the guys was like, why are Wolves defending like this? I'm like, Isak, is he going to score? Like, I'm starting to worry. I was like, I don't think you have to worry here because every single attack, they're just looking for Isak, and they've been very close to finding him. He had one chance that went narrowly wide.
Yeah, the take on was brilliant.
Yeah, it was. And then the moments come, and he's right there. And then, at the 75th minute or something, they can take him off. So it was a very, very convincing show from Alexander Isak, and he's just the best person in the game at the moment. Do I captain him again against Bournemouth?
Yeah. I mean, we say about Wolves being quite good against Newcastle defensively at times. I'm with you. I think if we take Wolves and Bournemouth, they've both just played Newcastle and Chelsea, and we weren't sure on captaincy. Those two teams are about to play Newcastle and Chelsea again, just reversed. The weaker defence for me, I think Bournemouth looked a bit weaker defensively than Wolves, and Bournemouth are going to play now the better attack in Newcastle.
Yeah.
So let's definitely talk about captaincy in just a sec. But guys, I'm gonna change my mood in just a second. But before I do, I've been completely I can't even think of the expression. I've been completely riled by Adam in the chat, who has said, and I have to call you out, Adam, because I want to defend myself and just make a point about bad ranks and content creators. Adam's called me out. He said, wait, maybe my camera's gone off focus. Hang on. That's weird. He said, Gianni has to perform. It's his job. I'm not having it. I'm not having that at all, Adam. You can absolutely do one. If my performance matters to you, this is the wrong channel for you, mate. I won't have it. This is a game which you will have good seasons and bad seasons. And being your job, if you want every content creator to pick the same template team, I'll do that and I'll have a respectable rank at the end of the season. Or if you want to watch teams a little bit different, check me, Big Man, and Dean out, and you'll get 3 very different approaches to FPL and very different teams. And hopefully, what I think is the most important thing, good, engaging content throughout the season. If you just want to look at teams that have got good ranks, this is why content creators are scared to captain Bruno. This is why content creators are scared to pick Foden. Because people like you say you have to perform because it's your job in a game that's luck-based. Not having it. Anyway,
you know what? You know what the worst part is? The worst part is, Johnny, that if the obvious picks do well, then everyone's like, "Oh, they were obvious." I mean, what's the fun in that? And if any of your differentials backfire, then you get hate for going different. So that's the dilemma with the, and that's the problem which a lot of content creators face.
Yeah,
it's a massive problem. I think it's a really interesting discussion about content creators having to play safe when maybe they don't want to because they're worried about people like Adam.
Adam didn't realise the
out of focus. It is. I was thinking that was a really good clip for Chasing Green Arrow's Instagram, but they can't now because my camera's far too blurry.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened. It's like even your camera's lost faith in you at the moment, G. You're gonna have to yeah, but
camera's looking as blurry as your rank, Gianni.
Oh, I know. Oh, Lewis has just summarised it. Gianni's job is to create good content, not good ranks. Thanks.
Yeah,
Lewis.
but the thing is, mate, like you obviously, like I've made decisions based on stuff that you've said in the last few weeks, and it doesn't take much to turn around. Big Man was talking the other day about the jump up that he's had in rank recently, and I looked at mine last night, and start of game week 18, my rank was 1.3 million, and this morning it's up to 470k. So like just 4 weeks of green arrows. And this is how it changes now. It's one of the most unpredictable seasons we've ever had. I'd say it's close to COVID for me in terms of like actually picking out performers. it's been a really strange season. The injuries have been a bit of a nightmare too. So yeah, I think you'll still have. I still think you'll have the last laugh. I still think you're going to turn this around, mate. You got half a season.
I don't know. Do you know what it is? A lot of the stories of like big man, we had on the thumbnail last week, big man from 3 million to 200k in how many weeks? Awesome gains. Dean, you've had similar recently, and many people watching will have similar messages based on this season. The problem is all your green arrows have come within the same period of the season because everyone's invested in the same sort of players. So you all are getting these big greens together versus the casual managers who don't have these sorts of players. If I'm not getting greens when you guys are, it's going to be really tricky because I'm then going up against you lot who have got good players to try and find marginal gains elsewhere. Like that decision this week by selling Foden to Bruno cost me 27 points because not only do I make the sell, but I then switch the armband. I can't see where I make 27 points up on good teams. I can make it up on bad teams, but to get a good rank, I need to be beating good teams.
You need to ditch Salah and get Harland.
It was obviously very rough. It was very rough. But Johnny, again, I think you should focus more on the thought processes. And one thing sort of what I've sort of become accustomed to and what I've sort of learned over the years is that I sort of think very hard about my team. I spend hours and hours contemplating about FPL before the deadline, but once the deadline is over, I do not sweat over results or like care about them one bit because I know what was in my control. I did to the best of my ability. So I think it should be similar for you. And if you keep on making rational decisions like you did with Foden to Fernandes, I would have done that 100 out of 100 times. If you keep making these kind of decisions, these 27 points that you've lost will be made up in no time.
Well, Bruno's done it to both of you, by the way. There was that week when Big Man lost it over Bruno. Was it the red card? Was that the week?
That was the one.
So he done you with a red card. You were ready to give up that week. G's ready to give up this week because of Bruno. So maybe we should take him out of the game.
I was going to stream today on my channel. I cancelled it this morning. I was like, I'm not doing it.
You cancelled your channel? That's a bit far, mate. That's your income.
Mate, big man, that is your focus on the decision, not the outcome, is proper useful. And I know from speaking to big man offline on WhatsApp, I mean online, but on WhatsApp, away from the camera, that you're so good at doing that. You can step away from a bad week and go, it's fine, I back my decision. And you're right. Genuinely, I would make that move 100 times out of 100. The way City have been playing and Foden and the way United have been playing and Bruno in the fixture, the armband was a bad decision. But the transfer I'm fine with. And it does make it a little bit sweeter. Guys, let's talk captaincy. Let's move on. And thank you so much for the counselling session. You two, thank you so much. But also thank you everyone in the chat. I've genuinely enjoyed that. And I think it's nice to have a little bit of a difference in conversation. It's very easy. I could come on and say everything's fine and we talk about the game week. But I think it's nice just for others to perhaps appreciate that. Why is so many saying Palmer in the chat?
We've got a Holly raid, mate. We've got a Holly raid coming on.
Oh, Holly. CH has just missed the best 20 minutes of chasing green arrows of the season, by the way.
Yeah, you might have, CH. Yeah, you might have.
Everyone joining saying Palmer, thank you very much, the Holly Raiders. Holly has done so well with captaincy this season. She went Palmer last time out. I assume it's Palmer captain for Holly. If you're new round here, stay for the next 40 minutes. You've just missed the counselling session of me being terrible at FPL. And we are going to start talking about the game week ahead. Do hit the like button, but also if you're new around here, please consider subscribing to Chasing Green Arrows. Oh, Holly's going Salah this week.
Well, Palmer is an injury doubt, so I think that's probably why they're all shouting Palmer. Like
I've turned off Twitter. Sorry.
Enzo said in his press conference that Cole Palmer is a doubt and he didn't train today, but he got a kick in the last game, and that's interesting. But Chelsea don't play till Monday.
It'll be fine.
If he's just got a kick in the last game in the second half.
No, mate, it was in the first 20 minutes and he played on and was fine. I remember watching the game thinking he had their physio came on, but he played through it.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to be too concerned about Palmer being a doubt for a game that's in like 3 days. So, yeah, he's not going to be making an erratic decision to dump Cole Palmer, but probably wise not to captain him if that was going to be on the agenda. But thank you, Holly, for the raid and getting everybody into our chat with this Cole Palmer news. Where do you want to start today, G? I mean, it's still Palmer. You're still going to lead things, mate. We still trust you.
Well, let's go captaincy. We'll do a poll. Let's still mention Palmer in the poll because look, we all were worried about Isak. We didn't go there because he was flagged, and look, he went and delivered 16 points. Or how many points it was. Big man, where are you at with captaincy? And let's discuss Isak, Salah, Palmer as the three positives and negatives.
I'm a bit annoyed about this Palmer sort of news. I mean, I was 100% set on captaining him again this week, like I did last week. It worked out well. Liverpool have a better fixture against Brentford, but so do Chelsea against Wolves, because Wolves are much worse defensively than Brentford. We just saw what Isak did to them in midweek, and they were conceding chances for fun. So I expect Chelsea to win fairly comfortably and Palmer to be involved. I think there was a good opportunity to go. This is a good opportunity to go against Salah. Obviously, now with this news, I mean, I'm not sure how much we can read into it because it's a Monday game, so I do think he'll start. It's just that very much like Isak, I'm sort of fearing the risk of him getting subbed earlier than usual. That's the only thing that's playing in my mind. And that sort of made me contemplate my decision again. And now I'm not exactly sure which way to go. I guess Salah is more safer in that sense. I may still go Palmer, but now I'm not sure about it. It's sort of very tight in my head. I am not going to captain Isak. I think Bournemouth will probably give Newcastle a decent game. And I think when worse defenses in the form of Wolves and Brentford is there for the taking, I would rather go with someone like Salah and Palmer.
Dean, what's your take?
Well, the problem with Isak that I also have is that it's the first game of the week. It's like it's the midday kickoff on Saturday, and that does. It always bugs me if that game has been and gone and Isak hasn't scored and all the other games are still up for grabs and everybody's captains are still up for grabs, then that always bugs me. So that's honestly one of the main reasons that stops me from picking Isak. If this was a Sunday afternoon game, I'd be picking Isak as captain. That's how dumb I am in that sense. But what I have got on Sunday afternoon is a Chris Wood who is playing against Southampton.
Behave.
Why would I not pick Chris Wood against Southampton?
Because Southampton might not actually be that bad versus Forest. I reckon it's still a low XG game for Forest, that. Where is it?
It's at home for Forest. It's a good fixture.
I'm reading this fixture as a non-Wood owner, but then again, I just don't rate the Forest attack on the same level as Chelsea and Liverpool, which, yes, Wood will probably score, but I agree with Johnny. Their underlying data does not exactly suggest that they will score 4 or 5 goals in a game. Well, I generally think that could happen with Chelsea and Liverpool, and that's the difference between, let's say, Wood and someone like a Palmer and a Salah.
I don't know. I just don't think there are many players in this game who, if they're playing Southampton at home, they've already got 13 goals for the season that you wouldn't pick as your captain.
I thought that with Bruno, though. I didn't have all those goals, but I had an upturn in form, big team versus little team.
But that's the thing. So if you were to pick if it was Mbeumo or if it was Palmer or if, I don't know, Isak, whatever, who had Southampton at home, I think you'd pick them as your captain.
Yeah, you would.
I don't think that Chris Wood is now any different from those players. The way that he took his goal the other day was like against Liverpool was
so good.
So good. It was so confident. Thank you, John. Really appreciate that, mate. He's just gifted 5 memberships to the channel. So thank you very much, mate. We do really appreciate that. So I'm serious. Like I might captain Chris Wood this week. I don't think that there are many plausible arguments that can be made against it.
I would love you to do that because I don't think it's a bad call. I've heard a lot of content creators talk about that as a possible captaincy because the fixture's there, the form for Forest is there, the form for the player is there, it's at home. No content creator, big name, will do it because they're worried about John.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have this pressure.
John will have a dig come 20 minutes into their first YouTube stream after that game week. But I reckon you can get away with that, mate.
Yeah, Adam, let me know whether I should captain Chris Wood this week or not, mate. Is it brave? Is it silly? But yeah, I obviously don't have the same pressure that you two have when it comes to this game. It still bugs me, don't get me wrong. But I don't have perhaps the sleepless nights that you have over picking my team. But yeah, I honestly think that when you study this and you look at the way Forest play and where they are in the league at the moment is not a fluke. They are They have become one of the best teams in the league this season. They're doing a bit of a Leicester. They're not going to take this as far as Leicester City and go and win the league. But Nottingham Forest have an opportunity to finish in the European places, which is unbelievable for them. And Chris Wood is just in such good form against a team that cannot defend. They cannot defend because they switch off. They have glitches in the matrix. They can't deal with 90 minutes of football, Southampton. Their manager, look, one of the most stressed men I've ever seen in my life. Like every time they cut to him on the Old Trafford, he was literally losing his mind. I was like, mate, you can relax a bit. This ain't your fault. This lot are just useless. Like they've been doing this all season. Nobody's worrying about this being your fault. But yeah, I've never seen someone like almost literally pull their hair out on the touchline like he was watching his team yesterday. So yeah, for me, away from Isak and Palmer and Salah, I think Chris Wood is an obvious option.
Do it. I like that. Big man, how close are you now on Salah then? Like, do you see it? Because Salah was always a great option because Brentford will always give you chances. And I know Brentford are good at home, but we just saw Man City, who aren't doing that well in attack, still clocked 2.5 XG. Worth noting, Brentford clocked higher XG than City in the week. Liverpool going to get their chances.
They will. And, as someone who's owned Flecken for basically the entire season, I know how obliging their defense is. So I'd expect Liverpool to score 2 or 3 and Salah to do well. I mean, I don't have any doubts about it.
I think Jota will start this one, guys.
Jota's a doubt, Dean.
Is he?
Yeah, because you're getting up early, you don't see all the same news we see. But
He's barely
just come out as a doubt a couple of hours ago.
Oh my
he
goodness.
mentioned
I was honestly thinking coming into the we were chatting.
Me too.
This is his final scored, I was like, this is his time. He'll get in that lineup now. That is bad news for him. Lewis says Jota is made out of glass. Yeah, I mean, now that I'm hearing that, I'd agree. So I think that's a big blow to Liverpool. Like they're not looking that good. I'm not that confident that they actually win that game. If I'm totally honest.
Diaz is ill as well, so yeah, I mean he's a slight doubt too.
God, you wouldn't have to want to play Darwin.
Honestly, I wouldn't have been upset.
Jota is Reece James in disguise. Yeah, I'm not sure. He's quite.
He can't score free kicks as good as Reece James can. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he doesn't take a free kick like Reece. Yeah, okay. So Salah versus Isak will be the decision, I think, for me. I'm currently on Isak, but knowing me, I'll swap it last minute and it will end terribly. The first game thing, just like the last game thing, doesn't bother me. I know it's annoying if your captain blanks early on and it can ruin your game week, but it's also annoying watching all the other captains do well and then having your guy play last, and then the pressure on that. Just remember, the player doesn't care what time the kickoff is. Unlikely. And the player doesn't think about his FPL returns based on the kickoff. That the whole early kickoff versus late kickoff thing, if you're superstitious, fair, do that for you for whatever things you have superstitions over. But that's not going to influence Isak's outcome, I don't believe.
Yeah, I just don't like it because it does ruin your weekend if he does blank. That's my main reason. Salah's an interesting one. I do believe. I mean, his fixtures are still good coming up. But I think that the argument to get onto Harland soon is definitely growing. This
new contract bounce.
The new contract today, 10-year contract. Not many people sign those. There could well be a new contract bounce. It's not really necessarily this Brentford game where I'll be looking for the Harland points. It's in like the 3 or 4. Sorry, not Brentford, is it? So who's their first one? I'm looking at Liverpool's fixture there. Ipswich, sorry. So Ipswich, I'm not really expecting Man City to batter Ipswich like I should be expecting Man City to go and batter Ipswich because they just won't have the same space as they once did. Like, I know that you're probably kicking yourself a bit over Foden. Foden didn't actually play that well.
No, Foden hasn't been playing well. I've been getting points from him, but he's been poor.
Yeah, exactly. So
this is the first time he's double-digit haul this season, Johnny.
Yeah,
first time.
Yeah.
And look at the timing. That's really unfortunate.
Last season, I sold Foden ahead of a hat trick at Brentford.
Did you?
Last season, yeah. Literally, it's so.
I remember I had him benched that week.
Yeah. It's a tough call. So after this Ipswich game, like if you look at City's fixtures, I mean, they're going to have to find another level, basically, aren't they? If you read what City have got coming up, it's Chelsea, it's Arsenal, it's Newcastle, it's Liverpool. But this is kind of why you have Harland. Like this is such a pivotal moment in their season. They're doing all this transfer business right now. There's not any great signs of them turning this around. I've not been that encouraged by what I'm seeing, but there's steady signs of recovery, I guess. That's probably as good as I can describe it. But I do think that Harland is going to still prove to be a good pick. The problem is, like, Salah's just got the better fixtures, and that's why people probably aren't going to flip it right now. What were you saying, Big Man, recently about when you were looking to make that move to get towards Harland?
That would be in 29 because the way the fixtures are likely to pan out, Liverpool and Newcastle are likely to blank in 29. Obviously, no one will be selling the likes of Salah, Isak, Trent before 29. But if that happens, then in game week 29, I think a lot of people will be looking to sell someone like an Isak and Salah to get Harland and a cheap forward, basically.
Interesting, yeah.
And City have Brighton at home that week, and Harland will be the best captain, very likely, just the way the fixtures are. So I think in 29, a lot of managers will be looking to make this double switch.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think you're right. 29 might be when some money comes out as well. I just think that at the moment, money is. We might have a little bit of money, but we're also thinking about, do we need to leave money in the bank because there's a double game week for Liverpool around the corner and we're all going to want triple Liverpool. Liverpool players are expensive. Are we looking at assistant managers? Well, again, we need more money for that. So justifying Harland is so tough now. I think if you've got him, though, as you say, Dean, like, you can't sell him. You've made your bed. You've got to keep
go for it now.
And there are still a fair few out there with Harland.
Well, a few have started to get him back. Yeah, I mean... there's one guy, Wazza, who might be in the chat right now, who's in our WhatsApp group. And he took the decision a couple of weeks ago to make the switch from Salah to Harland because he needed to make up rank. And he was like, you know what? This game's about fun. Harland can't be that bad a pick, basically. and he went for it. And what you do get out of it is, like, you know, whenever Harland scored in the past in this game, you don't really even celebrate the goals because everybody else has got him anyway. Like, Harland goals now have an extra value to them, and they still cost a lot of money every single goal because of what he's worth in this game. But he is now a differential because so many people jumped off of him, and so many people are going to continue to keep faith in Salah for the time being, I'm sure. But I definitely think that there's something to be said for making the move to Harland if you've got a lot of ground to make up and you're not a content creator.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to do that.
Yeah, good stuff. Guys, thank you so much. We've got 300 of you in the chat, which is awesome. Stay tuned. Let's show our teams and talk through them. We're going to answer some questions as well today, so don't go anywhere. So let's see our teams. We'll do. I can't remember. Did we do a captaincy poll for this game week coming? I can't remember if we did, but we did, I think. But let's do another one with Chris Wood in there for Dean's benefit. So let's do Wood versus Isak versus Salah versus Palmer. We'll do those 4. Yeah,
we can get that up on the chat
and vote
now.
As though you own Chris Wood. Like, if you've got Chris Wood in your team, would you captain him? Is the question.
Would you captain Chris Wood right now against Southampton? Big Man, are you turning on the heating or the air conditioning?
It's the heater. It's very cold, actually. So,
is it? Yeah, I was just wondering. Is it warm or cold where he is? I have no idea.
It's extremely cold.
Is it? Oh, interesting.
By our standards, because we're used to living in temperatures which are in excess of 30, even 40, right, at times. Okay. So temperature these days is below 10. So that's
that is cold
for us. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
How cold does it get there, big man? Like, what's the coldest you'll get in Pakistan in a year? Like, does it ever drop below freezing where you are?
Not in my parts, but in the northern areas, it's freezing. Like, it is below minus for quite a few northern areas. But where I live, it doesn't necessarily drop below 0. It's very, very rare.
Yeah,
Same as San Diego, Dean, right? Would you ever get sub-0 in San Diego?
No. It's 7 now, though. I've just looked at my thing. It's 7 degrees at the moment. Like, I don't usually wear a fleece on chasing green arrows, but this house is freezing in the mornings. The houses don't have insulation and stuff like that because they're
not built for winter.
They're just not built for it. But it's 7 degrees now. But by this afternoon, it'll be like 18 degrees. Like it's just weird. Like when the sun's up, it's lovely. But yeah, that's it. Weather watch on Chasing Green Arrows. That's that covered.
We did bring you Storm Dara exclusively.
That's your big one of the season, mate. Yeah, so honestly, so I look at the team right now, and João Pedro there chilling on the bench, but he's got Man United up next. And after seeing Man United yesterday, I can't leave him on the bench.
No.
I can't. And
that is a massive.
That's why he's in. That's why I think he's in for Ahmed, mate. Because like, this is very harsh on him, and given all the headlines around him today. But the Amad Diallo hat-trick was a fluke, right? And he might return against Brighton, but I shouldn't really expect Ahmed to outscore João Pedro in this game, I don't think, based on what I've seen from both teams. So I don't think it's that much of a concern either, because like not that many people own Ahmed.
Fewer own Bruno.
Yeah, I know. I think that's strange in itself. But I think if you consider the fixture, I would still like just take yesterday's game out for a moment. Like, who is more likely to return in this game? I still think it's Bruno Fernandes. Like, still, United was a bit weird yesterday. I mean, Kobe Mainu came off at half time, then Agate went off in 54 minutes. So as a result of that, Bruno had started the game further up the field, but then he became into that more withdrawn role, which nobody wants to see. So
until Eriksen came on, and then he moved back up.
Yes, so it's like he plays all these, but obviously he's still got the free kick and penalty potential and all the rest of it. So
yeah, I mean, he got 2 bonus points where he didn't get a single return in a game where there were 4 returns. That's how he is still clearly a good option. And he got the bonus points because of successful dribbles. He still had shots on targets. He gets fouled a lot. So Bruno, you know, I'm with you. I think Bruno over Ahmad. I think you might have this right at the moment. I think I would bench João Pedro just. And the reason being, I just know Ahmad's going to get 90 or very close to it. I'm not sure. João Pedro, right, we're going to see Welbeck start, right? I think, number 9. He's back fit. He's had 2 cameos now. Welbeck's good for 60 against his old club as the number 9. João Pedro as the 10 is good. We like him as the 10 better than the 9. But in the 10, you've also got other players playing well. Like O'Reilly's been playing there, playing well. Rutter came on and scored last night, playing well. We know João Pedro's had an injury and he just played, 75 minutes last night. 2.5-day turnaround. Does João Pedro get another 60? Is he even guaranteed to start at Old Trafford? I don't know.
I mean, he looks okay. Like, I watched the extended highlights of the game. There wasn't really any signs of him. You know,
no, there weren't.
If you saw the way that he battered into the goalkeeper, he's clearly not concerned about his own health at the moment. He's just trying to damage other people's. And you know, United are vulnerable. I mean, Harry Maguire probably comes back into the team for United. He was left to the bench for this one because he wasn't fully fit. I was speaking to someone the other day close to United, and they were like, Harry Maguire is one of the best players in this team at the moment, and they're not as good without Harry Maguire. And I think that was probably again proven last night that you miss his leadership when he's not there. Lenny Yoro looked a bit dodgy yesterday, and
Mate, I thought he was terrible.
Yeah, so I'm not convinced that Lenny Yoro plays, but if he does, then Brighton definitely have the capability to expose him. Yeah, so I just feel like it's a bit of a risk to leave out João Pedro over Ahmad. It's weird that João Pedro and Bruno Fernandes are both owned by fewer people than Amad Diallo, but I don't know who else has actually got Ahmed in there. Not many people I've seen in any of my mini leagues have actually got Ahmed, so I'm not sure who all these owners are.
Dane, I assumed the same, but when I woke up and saw my rank, I wasn't really concerned about Ahmad. I was very concerned about Bruno, like I mentioned. Then I looked at my rank and I lost 5 points to Ahmad on the field, right? So around my rank, Ahmad's rank was 28%.
That's interesting.
Very high.
Yeah,
it's very high because I did not expect it to be that high. I mean, 28% for a player like him is fairly high.
Yeah,
but I think it's a very comfortable save for you this week. You can play Timber over Kirkas. I'd do that for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I would lean towards playing Ahmad over João Pedro. As much as I like João Pedro, I think I
Good,
would
yeah.
lean towards playing Ahmad over him.
Wow,
I
that's
just
big
think
from
the
you,
fixture-
big man, to bench this isn't a joke, but to bench João Pedro as a penalty taker, who I know that would be tough for you, but I'm with you. I think I'm with Ahmad too. Why is that?
I think I'd play Ahmad. I just expect United to score more goals than Brighton. That's why.
Yeah, I think United, as the home team,
The fixture is
probably go
better.
into that game
Exactly.
as slight favourites.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very unpredictable game. I've got no idea, honestly, how that will come out in the wash. But one good thing, looking at my team, is I can roll over another transfer, and that's a nice place to be, because at the moment I'm just banking them, and there's not really too much panic around it. So that's quite satisfying to know that I'm pretty close to having 3 free transfers in the bank.
The double game week round the corner, you can then get to 24 with 4 free transfers and go, okay, I need to get an extra Liverpool player or 2, probably going to go Liverpool triple up. And do I want a Mikalenko or a DC or an Everton player just because it's a good double game week? Well, a double game week which includes Leicester. So that's a nice position to be in ahead of 24.
Yeah, exactly that, Mo. So happy with that. And the benching dilemma over Ahmed or João Pedro is it's not the worst problem in the world to have.
Yeah, and it is a 2-horse race. You can't make an argument, I don't think, to be benching a Bruno or an Mbeumo just with they're too good or they've got too many routes to points. Okay, let's move on from Dean's team. If you want to see Dean's final team, do check out his Instagram where he posts it before every deadline. I think, is it me or Big Man up next? Let's have a look. Oh, it's me. We'll keep this one brief. I've got Rodgers on the bench at the moment. I think I've got it right. That is my only big dilemma. I'm not making a transfer. We haven't spoken about Nico Jackson. I guess we should just have a quick discussion on Chris Wood versus Nico Jackson. Wood would be, like, if I could make that move for free, I'm making it. Using a transfer on it, not so sure. I'm happy with Nico Jackson. The numbers are there. I know the finishing is so bad and Wood's a much better finisher. But at the moment, Jackson's getting 4 chances for every one of Wood's. At some point, variance will balance out and Jackson will start hitting the barn door. He did have an awesome effort ruled out by the post, and he is a key cog to the team. Big man, Jackson versus Wood.
I think keep Jackson. The fixture's there this week. I mean, yes, Wood has a good fixture as well, but yeah, I mean, I don't think you should be using a transfer. It's a very comfortable save for you as well.
Yeah. And the benching order? Oh, sorry, benching of Rodgers over Enzo?
I'm gonna say, do you trust Enzo? Like, what are you seeing in Enzo?
I play Enzo. I think. I play Enzo. I think
Enzo has created more chances than any other central midfielder this season. I think I saw a stat of 35, something like that earlier. Like, again in the week, his XGI was good. He has been close to getting a fair few assists, but yeah, he's not brilliant. And at 5 million, you much prefer like a Jacob Murphy or a Ahmad. But again, I don't think it's worth the transfer. So I'm going to keep Enzo. But I mean, I could start Rodgers over Enzo. I prefer Rodgers as a player. Usually, I think I'd be benching Enzo. But
it's just been so long since Enzo returned, hasn't it?
It really
that's
has.
the big. I agree with you. Like when you play, when you watch it, there's no concern. But then once you start going through his points, he hasn't got more than 2 points in 4 weeks. You do start to think like, what am I chasing down here? But equally, if you are seeing with the eye test that's not representative of his actual performance, then maybe it's a little inclusion like that helps you in a game week like this where you've got 3 Chelsea players and you hope that they bang against Wolves and suddenly you get a bit of a jump on everybody else. Yeah,
in his last 3 games, he's blanked in all of them. He's had a 2 or 1, and he's had 4 points in 3 games. But his XGI in those 3 games is over 1.5. Like, very few midfield players in the game that will have an XGI of 1.5 in the last 3 weeks. Like even Cole Palmer. Okay, Cole Palmer's different. Bad because of what he did against last time out. But let's just have a look at Salah's numbers. No, Salah not because of his gut. Okay, Bruno's. Yeah, Enzo's had way more XGI than Bruno. Way more. Way more than Rodgers. Brian and Mbeumo last 3 game weeks. Okay, no, because of what he did against Southampton. But it's there. Like the numbers, 1.5 is good for a 5 million midfielder in 3 games.
What about like Semenyo or something like that? Because Semenyo, I know, is 0.6 more. But
Semenyo's amazing.
He's a good player in this game, and it's
very good pick.
So Enzo's had higher XGI than even the shot-heavy Semenyo in the last 3 game weeks. Semenyo's at about 1, which is still a good number, right?
Yeah, but Semenyo's got 20 points in the last 3 weeks. So.
I know. Yeah, Semenyo's going to be in this team soon. I think I'm waiting for those fixtures to turn.
Yeah. I mean, they it doesn't look great for them at the moment. Like Newcastle, Forest, and Liverpool up next for Bournemouth. But after that, they've actually got a really clean run of games that you would be willing to get him into your team. I think I'll get Semenyo in too.
Yeah, Jay says, issue for many is preparing for the double game week. And that's it. Like, if I was playing this game with a get the best 11 out each week, Enzo to Murphy or Ahmad would be an easy transfer. There's money in the bank there, or Semenyo. But knowing the doubles are around the corner, I'm just not willing to go in that direction yet. So my big decision is going to be captaincy. It's benching. I'm happy benching a Rico Lewis and a Rodgers. Not ideal. I'm happy to have Manoz and Hall. Should just mention I don't have an Arsenal defender, and fingers crossed with the assist and then the goal, then the assist being taken off Gabriel. That went well.
What was that about, by the way? Can you please tell me why? Because
it just didn't come off his head, did it?
It did. It was his goal, as far as I'm concerned.
No, it should have been his assist, maybe.
I was so annoyed. They even gave it to him and then took it off.
I know. So yeah, my big decision is captaincy, and I must admit, I'm still on the fence with Isak versus Salah. Good stuff. We'll come into the super chat, and then we'll see Big Man's team. So we'll come into the super chat. We'll get rid of my team, and then we're not blocking Big Man. Is Murphy to Gordon, Big Man? This is for you. Worthwhile?
I don't think I would. I I mean, if you have Murphy, you keep him for a bit, and then you swap him to Semenyo in a couple of weeks' time when Bournemouth's fixtures get better. And for Gianni, you as well. I think Enzo to Semenyo, because both of them are in a similar price point, you should be looking at that transfer in a couple of weeks down the line. Also, Cunha worth holding. I kind of like him against Chelsea. What do you reckon about his X minutes? Actually, we haven't really discussed Cunha. Gianni, what is your read of his minutes?
I reckon he comes in and starts. He did well off the bench against Newcastle. We were all surprised to see him, weren't we, on the bench? But I think it must be a fitness thing. Like, he's just got the new contract. Has he signed that new contract, Dean? Did that come for Cunha? I know there was talk of him getting.
I don't think it's been announced, but yeah, he's agreed it. So it's sorted. Yeah.
He's still going to be the main man under this new manager, and he looked really good against Newcastle. Wolves were unlucky not to score. I got lucky with the Lewis Hall clean sheet. Really lucky. So, yeah, Cunha's still good, and Chelsea will give Wolves chances. That game is not a formality, a home win. I reckon 2-1, 2-2 draw. Yeah, Cunha's good.
I agree.
Yeah. So, Big Man, let's come to you next and see your team. I'm guessing you've got the armband on Palmer still, have you? Or have you moved it? Yeah.
No, this is an old screenshot, but yeah, I mean, it's a 50-50 decision, and I might still go either way. As mentioned earlier, I was set on Palmer, but now I'm not exactly sure. I'll be playing João Pedro as well over Rodgers. Rodgers will be on the bench because he has a tougher fixture, and I think the rest of the starting 11 picks itself. Colwell is a doubt. I don't think I'll play him either. I will be saving a transfer. So a lot of these questions, I mean, the listener earlier asked about Cunha as well. And it's actually heartening to see all three of us save a transfer this week. I mentioned this in the previous stream as well, that saving a transfer, if possible, is extremely important at this point, because you want to be in a position very soon where you have 5 free transfers. A lot of people don't have triple Liverpool. You'd want triple Liverpool in game week 24, potentially even some Everton players. Then again, we might see Fulham and Spurs doubling in 25 if Spurs are to progress in the cup. That there's like a 20% chance of that happening. Then Harland, it will be someone we'd consider in game week 29, because Liverpool and Newcastle will likely blank in 29. So you'll probably need 2 transfers for that as well. And then people will need assistant manager transfers, where they're going to use their transfer swap one manager for the other. And this is assuming that during that period you don't need transfers elsewhere in the squad. So I just think saving is a bit of a no-brainer for anyone who can afford to do that this week, because selling good assets for other good assets does not personally make sense to me. I know the likes of Ahmad, Wood, Gordon, Hall, all these guys are tempting, but a lot of people have, let's say, Mbomo, Fernandez, Eze, Solanke, Raul, and all of these players are still equally good. So at this point in time, it just seems a bit, let's say, counterintuitive to be selling good players for other good players when transfers are at a premium.
Goalkeepers, are you sticking with Flecken? Like, you look at those next 3 key fixtures. Are you willing to use a transfer on a keeper soon? I'm not necessarily this week, but
yes. I mean, soon. I have Pickford and Allison in my thoughts.
yeah.
Konate, I mean, the thing with Konate is he needs to prove his fitness. He was taken off again at 60. I know it might have been game state, but I want to give him another week at least before I can take a decision on the third Liverpool that I go for. And, I'll decide that closer to the deadline. And I might go Pickford, I think, in goal. Because, Leicester at home is a good fixture in game week 24. And, I mean, Pickford is decent for saves as well. So might as well go there at that point.
Nice. Mate, are we, big man, mental for not considering and talking and putting the armband on Isak? Like, have you not thought about that?
Consideration for me. It's not a consideration for me. I just think Wolves and Brentford are better defenses to target than Bournemouth.
Dean, big man's shout there on targeting Brentford and Wolves over Bournemouth.
Yeah. It's hard because Newcastle was so fluid in their attack and they're so adamant about how they're going to get their goals and who they're going to come through. So he is the most dependable goal scorer in the game at the moment, Isak. And when a player is in a wave of momentum like what we're seeing from Isak, it's extremely difficult to go against him. That's why I've got a genuine dilemma in my team. Him, Isak, Wood, and Palmer is they're all good captain options. They're all got good fixtures. So to go with Palmer, I don't know. I honestly don't think there's a lot between them. I really don't. It was like last week when you've just got to make a decision and just have faith in the reasons that you've made that choice. I got not lucky with Isak, but I said at the start, you've got to target players that are just in the best form. And at the moment, Isak is the best informed player in the game.
When I did my early thoughts video on Wednesday, on my team selection video, I said I'm 40% likely to go Isak, 35% likely to go Salah, and the rest, what's that, 25 on Palmer. And I think I'm still there. I think it's Isak versus Salah, but I'm still edging on Isak.
I don't think many people are going Salah. Anyone?
Oh, every content creator will go Salah, I reckon.
Are they?
Safest.
Salah will be popular, yeah.
Salah will be the popular pick because of the Palmer flag or in update. I think a lot of content creators would have gone Palmer, and now they'll all go Salah.
That is so
no
boring.
content creator will go Isak. Or very few.
That's so boring.
Yeah,
but Adam.
I have a feeling this thing will stay with us forever.
Someone said earlier, Adam's living rent free in Janny's head. Guys, I wish it was just Adam. There's a lot of Adams. You see my Twitter notifications. Janny's dying inside, says FPL chicken. Very funny.
Sky Sports says Bournemouth have 9 absentees, says Sigurd.
Pepper's back though. Every clown.
That is who Isak is up against. So I'm going to be digging into that even further before I make my decision on Isak, Wood, or Palmer.
Jackson had a field day against that Bournemouth defence. Imagine Isak versus the Bournemouth defence who can actually finish.
I'm going to say, in terms of the way that they play off the shoulder and stuff and look for little holes, they're not too dissimilar, those two players. Isak is just much better, obviously. So, yeah, that is definitely interesting. But what's I guess Big Man said about Bournemouth's defence, I can't think of too many times, I'm going to try and check this while I'm talking, but I can't think of too many times when teams have scored that many goals against them. A couple of teams have got 2, but doesn't seem. I can't even find. Oh, Brentford scored 3 against them ages ago, but that's the only team I can see that's managed to get through more than twice. And only a couple of teams have scored twice. Fulham and Chelsea have both done it recently, and that's about it. So it's not an easy defence to play against. And obviously, like, they're high in the table as well, Bournemouth at the moment. They're having a very good season. I will look into those.
They'll come and have a go, though, won't they?
absentees.
They won't come and be deep. They will come and have a right go at St James's, which could be good for Newcastle. But yeah, we should probably do some quick fire questions. We've got 4 minutes, so we'll rotate. We'll take a question each and we'll go round and we'll do 10-second answers and get through as many as we can in the next 4 minutes. Get them in, guys. Get them in. And thank you so much for supporting the channel and for liking and subscribing. If you're just tuning in, though, and you don't want the Q&A, go back and watch the last 50 minutes. You missed an awesome start to the stream. I hope it was quite funny. Uncle B straight off the bat to Big Man.
Would you play Castan or Munoz? Castan not so attacking, but has a better fixture. I think this is very tough, actually. Yeah, I mean, I think I would lean towards Munoz simply because of how attacking he is. I would expect both West Ham and Leicester to score, which is why I think I'd lean towards Munoz.
Dean, I'll go to you next. Munoz or Robinson?
I think I'd go Robinson on that one. His assists are slightly false. I mean, the other day he got 2 assists for Fulham, and all he's done is played like little passes into Iwobi, who's then gone to cross it into the box, and they've both gone in. So, not entirely reflective of the situation. But Anthony Robinson's still one of the best players in the game.
I would actually bench Semenyo. I know that sounds crazy because he's so good, but I felt João Pedro against that United back line could have some joy. To you, big man.
Munoz or Murillo? Murillo, of course. Murillo has the much better fixture playing at home to Southampton.
Yeah, definitely. Murillo's great. Not enough people are talking about Murillo. Stefan, do we keep or sell João Pedro? I don't think we sell João Pedro. Don't think there's any concern over that. And I think this is a good fixture for him. Man United, we know, aren't fixed yet. So I wouldn't be selling João Pedro just yet.
Oh, Martinelli has to come into that Arsenal 11. Sterling, I don't think we're going to see Sterling start many Premier League games for the run-in. I still, though, think Visser. Start Visser,
Yeah.
Such a good finisher. Brentford are the best team in the league for ratio of shots being big chances. They create big chances. They don't create many chances, but they get good big chances. And Visser's an excellent finisher. Like, he is up there. Was one of the best outright finishers that Brentford have ever had. Like, he's a very good finisher.
So annoying when I watch the Goal Rush show on a Saturday, and then I've obviously got Mbeumo in my team, and they'll flash around to the games when the goals go in, and they'll be flashing up. There's been a goal in a Brentford game, and like, you're waiting for it to open up because you want to see like where the ball's at, and you're judging straight away. Where's Mbeumo compared to where is Visser? Like, that's all that comes to my mind.
I went through the exact same thing. on the day when Brentford played City. 2 goal notifications. I mean, when the second one happened, I'm like, this definitely has to be Mbeumo goal or assist. But when the goal was about to happen, I could see him sort of drifting away from goal, and then he passed the ball to someone who crossed it in for Visser to score. Who was it? Jansen, Norgard, maybe someone like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't really pay attention to the goal score because all I cared was whether Mbeumo got the goal or assist, and it wasn't.
If it's not Mbeumo,
It's so funny the way we watch games to go, please be my asset. It was the same when Man City scored in the week. I then clicked like, let's go to that game, see the goal. And De Bruyne is crossing the ball in, and you see Foden and Harland in the area. I'm like, that's fine. It will go to Harland. He's heading it in. Foden off his foot. You're like, what?
Yeah, it's a weird moment.
Yeah. Where are we? Whose was this? I can't remember. It was mine.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's mine.
I don't think you can ever bench Trent. The ceiling's too high. Same with Mbeumo. And João Pedro is good, but I think I'd probably reluctantly bench João Pedro.
Agree. Sell Jota to Eze or just play Colwill. Just play Colwill. I know he's an injury doubt, but I think I would simply.
You won't sub him on. He either starts or he doesn't play.
Yeah. Sell Solanke for Wood. The problem is Solanke's obviously got a pretty good fixture in Everton away. But Chris Wood's just a better goal scorer than Solanke for this season. I don't think I honestly don't think he's a better player or anything like that.
No, what do you mean?
But if I wanted somebody that I could actually have some faith in scoring more game weeks than not, then I'd rather have Chris Wood than Solanke.
Palace's Sarr is doubtful, by the way. He's definitely not a hard sell. He just got an assist. He's got good fixtures. He's playing well. Keep him. Last question. Murphy or Mbeumo? Who to start, big man?
Mbeumo. Don't bench Mbeumo this week. This isn't the week to bench. You just don't bench Mbeumo, to be very honest.
You don't bench Mbeumo. You don't. You're right.
Don't bench Mbeumo. You don't bench. Even, I know Trent's not been great, but players like Trent and Mbeumo, the ceilings are too high to ever bench them.
Yeah. When Mbeumo got those goals and assists the other week, and I got loads of points out of him, I was surprised at how many people had benched Mbeumo or sold Mbeumo, and I'm like, such a crazy decision. He's so consistent across the course of a season. And the one thing that I'm trying to do, which I think is probably the reason I've finally started to turn a corner in this game, is I'm just trying not to make knee-jerk reactions anymore and trust that good players are good players when it comes to output. And so if Mbeumo blanks against Liverpool this week, then so be it. But I'll have faith in the fact that over the coming weeks, when he's playing Crystal Palace or Tottenham or West Ham or Leicester, that these are just such good fixtures for him that he more than makes up for having one bad week.
We're going to end with a quiz question. Put a number in the chat, guys. No cheating here. You two, I want answers from as well.
Oh.
Where does Bryan Mbeumo sit in this season's total points so far? Across all positions, where is Mbeumo? Where does he rank? Is he 7th? Is he 9th? Give me a number in the chat. Just give me a number and I'll come to Big Man and Dean. Where do you reckon he ranks? Total points this season so far. Mbeumo.
I'm going to say 5th, but yeah, that's just...
Maybe 6th. I'd probably guess 6th. Has to be definitely right up there.
Guesses. A lot of you saying around sort of the 7, 8, 9 mark. The answer is 3rd.
He's even
Mate, only Palmer and Salah. He's got more points than Isak. He's got more points than Chris Wood, more than Saka, Iwobi, Ahmad, more than Aina. Yeah, 3rd.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of the reason for that will be, I don't think he's missed a game.
Exactly.
Has he?
He's played throughout.
You mentioned Saka.
He's not missed a minute. He's missed 1 minute. He got 89 minutes in the first game, and that's it.
There's not many players, especially in his position, that have not had an injury so far this season.
Yeah. Or an early sub at 60.
Or an early sub and stuff. But Mbeumo is always in and around it. That's really interesting. But yeah, I think that's reflective of the game time and the importance he has to that team. I mean, it probably is his last season at Brentford. There's too many big clubs now looking at him. I don't know if he'll be as efficient and effective as this in another team. I think that they play him in such a good way. He's got 2 roles in the team, right? He's got the wide one, but he's also got the one where he comes in. But he just suits this team. He's got to be very careful about where he goes next.
Yeah, he does. He really does. Maybe he'll go wherever Frank goes. They can go together.
He isn't really on the bench.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're just tuning in, go back and watch the first 20 minutes of the show if you want to see some FPL counselling. It was loads of fun. We will be back on Monday. Good luck this game week. For the time being, he's been Dean. He's been Big Man. You lot have been the awesome chasers. We've all been chasing green arrows. See you later.